this is Pre-Algebra 2.2. It starts on page 58 in your textbooks, but first we're going to start out with doing the note-taking book. So in your note-taking book on page 27, adding and subtracting decimals. So the first box, the vocabulary, is talking about front-end estimation. So here's the definition. It might not make sense, but I'll explain it at the end. Front-end estimation is to estimate with front-end estimation, comma, add the front-end digits, comma, estimate the sum of the remaining digits, and add the results up. Okay. Hopefully this you can pull this up and get to this little lesson on front-end estimation. If you can't get to it, then let me know and I will tell you the link, but hopefully it'll work for you. Okay, so back to your note-taking book. We'll come back to the front-end estimation in just a minute, but we're going to go back to the notebook. Example 1 says if you have 2.149 plus 1.32 and you want to add these together, you would have to write them. So you'd have 2.149. Now here we have to add a 0 as a placeholder, so you'll write that in the little box. You have to add the 0 as a placeholder so that we have the same number of digits, because you have to line up your decimal points there, and it gets very confusing if you don't add that there, that placeholder, the 0. And then you can add these together. We have 9 plus 0 is 9, 4 plus 2 is 6, 1 plus 3 is 4. Bring your decimal point down and put the 3 there. So that's the first one. B there is 5 minus 3.18. In this case we're going to have zeros to put in because we have the 5 here is actually 5 and then the decimal point. Any number by itself like that is going to have an invisible decimal point behind it. And then the next number is 3.18, so we have to add 2 placeholders here, 2 zeros, so that we can work out the problem. And we're subtracting in this case, so 8 from 0, we're going to have to borrow I don't know where it cut off, but hopefully you can catch it. You can figure it out. So 8 from 10 is 2, 1 from 9 is 8, and 3 from 4 is 1. So that's the answer for the B there. Just remember that any number by itself has a decimal that we don't see right behind it. And we had to add 2 placeholder zeros right there. If you don't do that, you're going to get all messed up. Okay, so your turn now is on page 27. I mean, we're still on page 27. It's at the bottom. There's those blue boxes, or 6 of them. There's 6 problems for you to find the difference. I want you to work out those on your own and then come and show it to me, and I'll check to see if you're adding the decimals right. Okay, so this one says evaluate 4.9 plus t minus v when t equals 3.42 and v equals 3.8. And so, hang on a second, I'm changing my ink color. So what we do here, don't panic, evaluate, we're just going to solve. So we have 4.9. Okay, so we have 4.9, and we're going to replace this part of the equation with the actual numbers. So we have t minus v. So I had the t was right there, and the v was right here. So I just rewrote out the equation, and now I can solve. You can fill out those blue boxes with what I wrote down here. Where it says substitute, the first blue box is going to be for the t, that'd be 3.42, and I mean for the yeah, and then for the v it's 3.8. Okay, then we can solve this part, which is 8.32 minus, we still have the 3.8 here, so all we did is solve this part, and then we're subtract 3.8 from 8.32, and our answer is going to be 4.52. Over here we where it says 8.32 minus 3.8, the blue box, the first one we add, and then the next one we subtracted. Okay. Then in the your turn to play boxes, number 7, it says D plus F. It tells you that D equals 5.82 and that F equals 4.9. So you're just going to replace all this with the correct number that's right here, and rework those and solve those there. Okay, example 3 on page 28. It has you in the adding front end digits. In the first, on the solution there, you can read the what it says. I don't have to do that for you, but it says it has the list of numbers 6.75, 5.40, and 3.89. And when you add the 6, the 5, and the 3, you get $14 there. That was in the second step. You add the ones behind the decimals. Now they did it a little bit different than the video that I showed you, but they basically take these two and put that as $1. They round that one up to $1 in this case. I don't know that I would do that, but they get $2. And then it says add the results, which would be $14 plus $2, they would get $16. Again, this is estimation, and this part right here, how they did it in the notebook, I like the explanation that the little video did. If it was me, I would have rounded up the 75 to, this one I probably would have rounded up to 80. I would have kept the 40 there, and I would have rounded the 89 up to 90. That's what I would have done. So I just wanted to show you that it's an estimation. It's not 100%. This part is accurate. This part all over here, this back end, is an estimate, and you just do your best guess. They used wide range numbers here. They went, they went kind of high. You can get more accurate by rounding to the nearest tenth. I won't count off if you're, whichever way you want to do. And then the last is, it says the estimated sum is greater than $15, so they cannot buy the milkshake. So make sure you read what the problem was that they were trying to solve, so that that makes sense to you. So if you have any questions before I make your assignment, you can look in your textbook on page 58 to 59. Example 3 on page 59, where it says estimating a sum, shows how they did that front end and back end estimation using where they kind of went high, but you can look at it there if you want. So I want to just kind of go over some of your problems that you're going to have. On number 7 on page 60, it says write a decimal in expanded form. Oops, it's moving around. And so number 7 there says is 6.912. And we know that the 9 is in the 10th column. We know that, oh, I wrote on the wrong one, sorry. Try this again. The 9 is in the 10th column. The 1 is in the hundredths, and the 2 is in the thousandths. And of course the decimal is right here. And the 6 is in the ones column. So the 6 we just write down in this expanded form. We're just going to write down the 6, and then it wants you to do the decimal parts, everything in the back end of the decimal. So the 9, you would write 0.9 plus decimal 0.1 plus decimal 0.02, because you have to put a placeholder for every one that's for every digit that's not there. You got to hold that place. So this right here represents this in expanded form. And your assignment will be pages 60 through 61. It will be exercises 9 through 28, 31 through 39, and 51 through 59. Okay.